everyone, it's Film Rich and welcome back to my channel. Today we're breaking down The Punisher Season 1, Episode 3, the episode that puts Micro and Frank Castle on a collision course. We'll run through the key scenes in order, focusing only on the facts and the events shown. Expect violence and morally complex material. Consider this a content note for viewers. Before we get into it, I would like to say please like, share and subscribe for more content, and without further ado, let's dive in scene by scene. The episode opens up with Micro waking up naked and restrained to a chair with zip ties. Frank Castle interrogates him. As they argue, a 3-minute countdown begins. Micro explains that the device is a failsafe. If the timer reaches 0, it will supposedly trigger explosives in the building. He says a code and a retinal scan are required to stop it. We cut to a flashback set 1 year earlier. Micro describes receiving a disc with his wife, Sarah. He feels compelled to act on the disc's contents. Sarah worries about protocol and what happens if he fails. Micro watches the disc and sees footage of the assassination of Ahmed Zubair. Using an anonymous email, he sends the recording to Dina Madani. Later in that timeline, while driving with his family, Micro notices federal agents closing in on the car. He flees and is followed to the river by a team led by Carson Wolf. On the riverbank, Micro is confronted, and according to his flashback, Wolf insists Micro has a weapon. Wolf shoots him in the chest. Micro falls into the river, but the bullet is stopped by a cell phone in his shirt pocket, which saves his life. Back in the present, Billy Russo visits Curtis Hoyle's veteran support group, bearing a donation. Hoyle suggests Russo attend the group so other veterans can see an example of how a former service member is in civilian life. Russo instead invites Hoyle to join him at Anvil, praising Hoyle as the best corpsman he has served with. Another flashback 2 years earlier shows Castle and Russo in Afghanistan. They receive a briefing from an unnamed civilian agent called Agent Orange and from Ray Schoonover. They learn they've been handpicked for Operation Cerberus, an elite off-the-book squad composed of soldiers from different units. Castle and Russo meet teammate Gunnar Henderson. At the Veterans Support meeting, Lewis Wilson discusses a friendly fire incident. O'Connor gives Wilson a pamphlet about the NRA and gun rights. At home, Wilson struggles with insomnia. When his father enters the room, Wilson draws a gun and fires, narrowly missing him. Back at the hideout, the countdown restarts. Castle searches the building and finds no explosives. He calls Micro's bluff. Micro concedes the device will not detonate but will broadcast live surveillance footage from the lair, intended to show that Castle is alive. Castle lets Micro reset the countdown. Flashback to Kandahar, Cerberus captures Ahmed Zubair. Agent Orange tortures Zubair to learn who else knows about the operation. Zubair claims no one else knows. Orange orders Castle to shoot Zubair in the head and bury him. Castle later removes the bullet from Zubair's body. Gunnar Henderson exposes doubts about the mission while they bury the officer. Hoyle and Russo visit what they believe to be Castle's grave and drink to his memory. Russo expresses regret that Castle did not reach out for help after avenging his family. Hoyle mentions a remark Castle made. Russo reacts, but Hoyle downplays it as conversation after Hoyle has lost his leg. At home, Dina Madani and her mother discuss the eventual death of Carson Wolf and Madani's promotion. At Homeland Security, Sam Stein gives Madani evidence that Wolf held $30 million in offshore accounts. Madani instructs Stein to sit on the information because she doesn't trust the chain of command. Back at the hideout, when Castle lets Micro reset the countdown, Micro uses the opportunity to inject Castle with heroin. Castle collapses. When he comes to, Micro argues that they should team up and the operation is off the books, illegal and unrecorded. And Micro claims to have proof. Micro says the targets were killed without congressional approval. Castle tests Micro's claims but ultimately agrees with him to collaborate on one condition, that the targets be executed without exception or requests for a trial. Micro accepts the condition. Another flashback to Kandahar shows the mission spiraling. Shoonova loses an arm and the squad is pinned down, and Castle clears an exit so they can withdraw. At the medical tent, Agent Orange demands to know whether their target was killed. Castle attacks Orange, leaving him blind in one eye. Russo claims Castle, who then announces he's getting out, and urges Russo to do the same. The episode closes with Castle and Micro aligned, each driven by their own reasons. Micro has provided context and motive. Operation Cerberus was off the books and illegal, and the names involved included Shoonova and Agent Orange. Castle's condition for cooperation: no mercy, no due process, is accepted, setting the course for the pair to pursue the conspiracy together. That's the scene-by-scene recap. The episode establishes the core conspiracy, Operation Cerberus, and the moral fault lines that drive Frank Castle and Micro, illegal wartime operations, buried crimes, and the lengths men will go to cover them. If you like this breakdown and would like to continue with more episodes of The Punisher season by season, please subscribe and let me know what your thoughts are in the comments below. Thanks for watching.